going to play around, but we're going to get things done. This should feel different. As a succession planner, I want them to know not everybody looks at succession the same way. Succession doesn't mean exit planning. Succession planning doesn't mean you have to leave the company. Succession planning could be, how do we lift up the skill set? Even like this company I'm working with today, this is a really wonderful, talented, young executive team. Succession planning for them is, how do we help these guys grow their career? So if you can understand that stuff, I want them to think that there's so much to this. I want them to feel there's so much opportunity. How do I demonstrate that in that call that I'm having? So the know, think, or feel is really through this conversation, getting them to either relax, getting to be excited, getting them to be, contemplative, whatever we want. That we can really control the experience of this discussion by how we set the intention for it. That's really what we're doing, is setting the intention.
Yeah. Oftentimes when I'm working through the feel, I will think through what are the common emotions that someone is bringing to the call when they think about succession planning, or they're calling, or they're saying, I want to learn more. And oftentimes it's anxiety, fear, worry. Are they going to be taken advantage of? Is this advisor going to be different than the other one who said that they did succession planning? Or are they just going to want to get assets under management, or just do my taxes? They have some oftentimes interpersonal dynamic that they're not talking about, that they're really worried about. So there's a lot of worry and fear, and is this person capable of helping me? And so and obviously there's a wide range, but I would say that those are the core. So when I think about, like, how can I come across and position the organization so they feel taken care of, they feel shepherded, essentially, that we got your back. We've been here before. We're a great resource. If you want to work with us, we'd be happy to work with you, but we're not going to give you a really strong sales pitch, because that's not who we are. What type of experience you want to create. And I think that could even be some of the, like, one of the most core questions on here that most people overlook, that touchy-feely thing. But that is really what like, if you come to the call in a really warm posture, asking questions, not just asking questions, but really being curious, that goes a long way in creating that connection.
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example, that the one I was telling you about. So I know I'm going into a meeting, and I've got 10 people in this meeting that are all evaluating whether they should hire me for this big contract or these other 10, 15 vendors. And how I approached that was, I knew there's these different levels of management, but there is a decision maker at the top. I need to make sure that everybody knows that it's just me and him, and everybody else is kind of, I cannot get lumped into the rest of the group, with no offense to them. But if it feels like I'm on the team, then I can't do my best work. I also have to create constructive tension with the owner, with the boss, to make sure that I can challenge him respectfully on an idea, which then ended up becoming about, we're going to do basic sales training. I'm like, we don't want to approach it from the lens of basic sales training. Now took him on a bit of a journey where he goes, yeah, that makes sense, which then ended up being like, well, whatever Joe says we're going to do, let's just do it. Now I'm in the right position, but I needed to pre-call plan that. So I was putting myself in the best position to challenge these kinds of situations, right? Then we look at and then empathetic for sure. Don't want to seem like you're being judgmental of their situation. Yeah. So if that's the case, that I might have an insight around that. If I just tell somebody what they, like you're saying, Ryan, is perfect. If I just tell somebody, now what you think about succession planning, stupid, that might not be as effective as getting them to go, oh, I never thought about that. Is that what this is? Oh man, that's perfect, because we worked on getting them there. So it's really about taking them on a journey with that experience, so that we're collaborating. I always say it's not me versus you, it's me and you versus the problem. So that we're looking at this, and if I can help you get there instead of me telling you to go there, it becomes your solution now, and you're going to have much more buy-in. Which is why also, when we think about what might they say, we use this, what might they say, really when it comes to a lot with objection handling. What are they going to throw back at us? Based on this, we worked with somebody before, it didn't work. This happened, this. So these might be objections we handle. If we get into a point where we're reactively, yeah, but, or yes, and we try and handle objections, a lot of times we're too late. If somebody physically says no to something, even if they change their mind, the likelihood of them going back on their no is much lower. If we can think about what they potentially could say, could we add things into our conversation earlier, like that movie, remember 8 Mile with Eminem? He started to say all the stuff that they were going to say about him ahead of time, so that now it invalidates the objections before they even happen. So if we know that people might be, I don't have time to do this, and we're not really thinking about shutting our business down at any time soon, we say in the beginning about things that might be about succession planning, and how a lot of people don't fully understand succession planning, this, which is why we work with companies that do this so that they can do this, and it invalidates that assumption before, that objection before it has to happen. So the what might they say is really thinking through what are their perspectives that they're going to bring to this, right? Then, you know, when we say what do we want them to do, all we're looking at is these multiple commitment objectives. And the way I approach it is, at the end of this call, you know, I want Kendall to move forward, and potentially let's look at an invoice and move this forward.